Jordan stared at the blueprint he'd spent 6 months perfecting, now crumpled in his hands. The email was cold and short: "Your design doesn't align with our vision." On the same day, his girlfriend of 3 years ended things. "You're chasing perfection, not peace," she said as she walked away. Now, stuck in rush hour traffic, his GPS rerouted him down a road he'd never seen before. His knuckles tightened around the wheel. "God, what are you doing?" A single puzzle piece sat on his dashboard. He picked it up, turned it over, and muttered, "This doesn't fit anywhere." Sometimes, life feels like that, fragmented, confusing, senseless. But maybe, the piece doesn't make sense yet, because you haven't seen the full picture. Jordan was the kind of guy who always had a plan. Vision board? Check. Life goals mapped by age? Check. Backup plan for every backup plan? Double check. He wasn't just building buildings, he was building a future he could control. He tithed. He prayed. He served in his church's small group. People called him solid. But here's the truth. It's easy to trust God when He agrees with your schedule. It's much harder when He interrupts it. Now the blueprint was gone. The relationship was over. The silence from God? Deafening. Jordan didn't need a new plan. He needed a new posture. Jordan sat across from his mentor at a dusty little diner. No business talk. No spiritual cliches. Just black coffee and hard truth. "Mentor, gently, you've trusted God's power, Jordan, but do you trust His process?" That line hit him harder than the rejection email. 4 years, Jordan believed that if he followed the formula, pray, plan, perform, God would bless his blueprint. But what if God didn't want a formula? What if He wanted surrender? Sometimes, God tears up your plans, not to punish you, but to pull you into partnership. Not your plan. His purpose. Weeks passed. Still no job offers. No big answers. Just waiting. Then, out of nowhere, Jordan received a call from an old college friend. "There's a faith-based startup doing disaster relief architecture. They need someone. It's not glamorous, and it pays peanuts. But it's purpose work." Jordan nearly dismissed it. It wasn't part of the plan. But something stirred in him. A nudge, a whisper. Sometimes, the path to God's will doesn't feel like a promotion. It feels like a surrender. Jordan said yes, not because he had it all figured out, but because God was finally leading, and he was finally following. The work was tough. Humbling. Jordan wasn't designing skyscrapers anymore, he was sketching blueprints for relief shelters in flood zones and earthquake sites. There were days he questioned the decision. Nights he wanted to go back to comfort. But then, he met Miriam, a single mother who lost everything in a fire. She clutched her daughter's hand and whispered, "We just needed one safe room. Now, we have hope again." Jordan didn't have money. He didn't have fame. But he was part of building something eternal. Sometimes, trusting God doesn't erase the tension. It transforms it into testimony. 1 year later, Jordan returned to the city for a conference. He passed by the firm that had rejected him, the one that once held his dreams. A sign outside read, "Closed for restructuring." He didn't feel smug. He felt thankful. At a nearby cafe, he unexpectedly ran into his ex. They talked, no bitterness, just grace. "Jordan, losing you pushed me toward God. And finding Him gave me everything I thought I lost." She smiled, genuinely. He had questions back then. But now, he had peace. Sometimes, the answers don't come in the moment. They come in the rearview mirror, when trust finally gives way to clarity. Jordan's story isn't about a job loss or a breakup. It's about learning to trust God, when nothing made sense. It's not just his story. It's ours too. So how do you trust God when the ground shifts, the plan fails, and the answers don't come? 1. Be honest with God. Psalm 62 verse 8, "Pour out your hearts to Him, for God is our refuge." Don't pretend. Tell Him when you're confused, angry, scared. He can handle it. 2. Remember His faithfulness. Lamentations 3 verses 21 to 23, "This I call to mind and therefore I have hope." When you can't see forward, look backward. Track what is already done. 3. Obey before you understand. Hebrews 11 verse 8, "By faith Abraham went, even though he did not know where he was going." Obedience doesn't always make sense on paper. But it builds trust on the inside. 4. Stay rooted in the Word. Psalm 119 verse 105, "Your word is a lamp to my feet." Even if you feel nothing, keep reading. Truth feeds your spirit even in silence. 5. Surrender control, daily. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and He will make your paths straight. Trust isn't a one-time event. It's a daily decision to release your grip. You may not know the why, but you can trust the who. Has God ever rerouted your life? What did He teach you through it? Drop your story in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Musings of the Spirit Whiteboard animations.